Hello and welcome back to another episode in the I Am That series, where we discuss, or rather I read and try and comprehend the spiritual talks with Nisargadatta, Maharajj and the various seekers that come to him for advice. As I'm looking at myself in this camera, I noticed several things I need to apologize for. My broken closet, can't help it. It'll be sorted. And also the hair that very much needs a haircut. Although I'm also trying to save my hair, so like it seems counterproductive to cut my hair when I'm trying to stop my hair falling out. All that said and done, I am not the body, and these are just opinions and not true, basically. Hence, I am that. Lies. Okay, basically, the living presence. So, a very quick reading. A question that comes to Maharajj. As I can see, there is nothing wrong either with my body or with my real being. Both are not of my making, and need not be improved upon. He's a lucky guy. Or girl, we don't know. What has gone wrong is the inner body, call it mind, consciousness, whatever the name. Maharajj replies, what do you consider to be wrong with the mind, with your mind? It is restless, greedy of the pleasant and afraid of the unpleasant. What is wrong with it seeking the pleasant and shrieking the unpleasant? Between the banks of pain and pleasure, the river of life flows. It is only when the mind refuses to flow with life and gets stuck at the banks that it becomes a problem. By flowing with life, I mean acceptance, letting come what comes and go what goes. Desire not, fear not. Observe the actual as and when it happens. For you are not what happens. You are to whom it happens. Ultimately, even the observer, you are not. You are the ultimate potentiality, of which the all-embracing consciousness is a manifestation and expression. That's deep, okay? So, just to like break the flow for a little bit. The flow, ironic, it's about the flow of life. You'd think I'm drunk, but I'm not, I'm sober. Basically, the idea here is acceptance. It's a very common thing we see in spirituality. Another word for it is letting go. Relinquishing control. Now, what this is in theory is that a thought comes with an awareness and we see it, or an event happens outside. Basic example, you're driving on the freeway and a car cuts in front of you. And you're sitting at the wheel and suddenly you're overcome by this rage. And you think, who the hell is just cut in front of me? They didn't have their blinkers on. It's terrible. And we get so worked up. We cling to that. The body almost gets this pleasure of feeling entitled, feeling angry. And that's where suffering comes, whether it's in a thought form or a physical form. Maharajj is telling the questioner, who's identified the problem as being that of the mind, Maharajj is telling the questioner, allow things to come and go. As we discussed in the other video, the first video, about obsession with the body, Maharajj says he sees life just as a show. You know, things come, things go. Like flickering images along the screen of consciousness. An analogy that a lot of non-dualists make to consciousness is that of the cinema screen. The cinema screen is consciousness, is our awareness, and life is occurring on the screen of consciousness. The screen and the scenes are merged. However, the screen is unaffected by the images. It knows that it is not the pictures being projected by life onto its wall, into its surface. Same as when we go to sleep, that consciousness is still there. Okay? Does that make sense? Probably not. Maybe if it does, great, you're way advanced, because this took me a very long time to comprehend. So, let's get back to our discourse. The questioner responds to this. I'm not going to read it again. The questioner responds to this. Yet between the body and the self, there lies a cloud of thoughts and feelings, which neither serves the body nor self. These thoughts and feelings are flimsy, transient, and meaningless, mere mental dust that blinds and chokes. Yet they are there, obscuring and destroying. Maharajj says, surely the memory of an event cannot pass for the event itself, nor can the anticipation live in the now. There is something exceptional, unique about the present event, which the previous or the coming do not have. There is a livingness about it, an actuality. It stands out as if illuminated. There is a stamp of reality on the actual, which the past and future do not have. Just take a minute, think about that. When we're thinking about the past, that's not there. It occurs in the present moment. But the actual past event, it's not there. And the same with the future. We're thinking about it in the present moment, in the now. It's not actually now. The only thing that is actually now and real to the senses is what's in the present moment. We are never in the past or the future. In fact, the past and the future do not exist except from the position of the now. So we're always in the now. Okay? Live there. Reside there. The minute you start going into the future, you're really going into the illusion. Same with the past. What gives the present that stamp of reality? There is nothing peculiar in the present event to make it different from the past and future. For a moment, the past was actual, and the future will become so. What makes the present so different? Obviously, my presence. I am real, for I am always now, in the present, and what is with me now shares my reality. The past is in memory, the future in imagination. There is nothing in the present event itself that makes it stand out as real. It may be some simple, periodical occurrence, like the striking of the clock. In spite of our knowing that the successive strokes are identical, the present stroke is quite different from the previous one and the next, as remembered or expected. A thing focused in the now is with me, for I am ever present. It is my own reality that I impart to the present event. The questioner replies, but we deal with things remembered as if they were real. We consider memories, Maharajj says, only when they come into the present. The forgotten is not counted until one is reminded, which implies bringing into the now. Yes, I can see there is in the now some unknown factor that gives momentary reality to the transient actuality. Maharajj says, you need not say it is unknown, for you see it in constant operation. Since you were born, has it ever changed? Things and thoughts have been changing all the time. But the feeling that what is now is real has never changed, even in a dream. But the feeling that what is now is real has never changed, even in a dream. The questioner: in deep sleep, there is no experience of the present reality. Maharajj says, the blankness of deep sleep is due entirely to the lack of specific memories. But a general memory of well-being is there. There is a difference in feeling when we say, I was deeply asleep, from I was absent. The questioner says, we shall repeat the question we began with. Between life's source and life's expressions, which is the body, there is the mind and its ever-changeful states. The stream of mental states is endless, meaningless, and painful. Pain is the constant factor. What we call pleasure is but a gap, an interval between two painful states. Desire and fear are the rift and warp of living. I think that's a typo. And both are made of pain. Our question is, can there be a happy mind? Maharajj replies, desire is the memory of pleasure, and fear is the memory of pain. Both make the mind restless. Moments of pleasure are merely gaps in the stream of pain. How can the mind be happy? The questioner: that is true when we desire pleasure or expect pain. But there are moments of unexpected, unanticipated joy. Pure joy. Uncontaminated by desire. Unsought, undeserved, God-given. Maharajj says, still, joy is joy only against a background of pain. Charming, isn't it? The questioner says, is pain a cosmic fact or purely mental? Maharajj, the universe is complete, and where there is completeness, where nothing lacks, what can give pain? The questioner says, the universe may be complete as whole, but incomplete in details. That's a good point. Maharajj says, a part of the whole, seen in relation to the whole, is also complete. Only when seen in isolation, it becomes deficient and thus a seat of pain. What makes for isolation? The reply from the questioner, limitations of the mind, of course. The mind cannot see the whole for the part. Maharajj agrees. He says, good enough. The mind, by its very nature, divides and opposes. Can there be some other mind which unites and harmonizes, which sees the whole in the part and the part as totally related to the whole? And this is going into the whole realm of nonlinear dynamics here, which is a concept in physics. The other mind, where to look for it? In going beyond the limiting, dividing, and opposing mind. In ending the mental processes as we know it. When this comes to an end, that mind is born. In that mind, the problem of joy and sorrow exists no longer, not as we know them, as desirable or repugnant. It becomes rather a question of love seeking expression and meeting with obstacles. The inclusive mind is love in action, battling against circumstances, initially frustrated, ultimately victorious. The questioner comes back and says, between the spirit and the body, is it love that provides the bridge? Maharajj says, what else? Mind creates the abyss. The heart crosses it. All right, and with that, I will see you next time.